are magnificent.
That's just what pedestrian, average, mediocre receivers do. We all right? Yeah, we all right.
And now it's time for another edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. With your hosts, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice. This is the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity, and welcome 12s to episode 320, the Vikings edition of your 12th Man Fan Jam show. The show made up of Seahawk fans from around the world just like you, talking about your Seattle Seahawks. Over the next few moments we share together, we hope you are entertained as we discuss your Seattle Seahawks as they prepare to take on the Minnesota Vikings. So sit back, relax, grab a desired beverage or sin of your choice, and remember, Seahawk victories don't come easy. As is with the usual every show, we are joined by the 12th Man Fan Jam Posse, a ragtag group of diehard Seahawk fans just like you from around the world. First, my partner in crime, the yin to my yang from merry old England, it's Matt. Hi, Matt.
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Matt. How are you today?
Well, I bring good news and bad.
You do? Do tell. What's the good news?
Well, the good news is we've got a fully stocked and professionally prepared 12th Man Fan Jam posse this evening.
Yes, we do. What's the bad news?
The bad news is this is the last week we're going to see Dustin for a while, as he's off to the North Pole to join all the other Santa's little helpers.
Hey, seasonal work pays a lot, dude.
There you go.
And we're off. All right. Next, from the state of Washington, our own news hound. His 12th Man editorials can be found on SeahawksStyle.com. You know him as Shadowhawk. We know him as Will. Hi, Will.
Hi, Moses. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. I would like more wins like last week.
Are you wearing the hat?
Yes. Are you wearing the hat?
I'm not wearing the hat today. That stayed at my parents' house.
Oh,
Good
what?
news. Good news.
Oh.
If I lose at trivia, I'm driving up to Oak Harbor tonight.
Yes, we will put together a fund to get you the hat if you lose at trivia this evening. Also, from the state of Washington, we have Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, man, talk about a rough start trying to get this thing started, guys. Dude, Dennis and Matt saw I was going to be late. I wasn't going to make the show. I use a headset that has a USB port and or a USB headset. Normally it's in my computer. I pull it out of the computer, put it on top of the entertainment center. Wasn't there. Started blaming the cat that we got. Assumed she did something with it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Looked for about 20 minutes, and then I was like, oh, yeah, now I remember. I tried to see if I could get him to work with the Xbox. He was in the back of the Xbox the entire freaking time.
Kid creep. Get that
Did
cat
you
out of
apologize
here.
to the cat?
Yeah, really.
No. Nope. I had a lot of things to say to her while I was looking, though. So.
Dustin, when you said you put it on top of the entertainment system, is that like on the floor on the top of, or did you have to like climb up something to get on top of the entertainment system to put it on there?
Well, I shop in the children's section usually, so it's just waist height.
Oh, that's
by a small one. Yeah.
So waist height to you, ankle height to everybody else. Okay.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's cheaper that way.
You know, he doesn't know this, but I actually have audio of Dustin and his wife actually was with. Here's what was heard in the house when he was trying to find his USB cord. It was something like. I don't know if you caught that.
No.
Get the cat out of the way.
Get the cat out of the way.
Get that cat out of the way.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, you sound a lot like Homer. Okay. Okay, anyway. And of course, our man from the Hotel California, behind enemy lines. And we're glad he's here, of course. We're referring to Statsman Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hello, everybody. And big changes out here. Our rival 49ers are making strides. They have demoted their team president, but are keeping their GM and head coach. So, no.
God.
How many vultures are circling Levi's Stadium these days?
There's more vultures than pelicans. So.
More vultures than pelicans. That's going to be the name. Isn't that going to be the name of the 49er team video this year?
In true brick fashion, I botched my own punchline. More vultures than seagulls. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
well.
All right. Well,
Gonna be a
you
long
can tell
show.
this is a well-rehearsed show, so let's get to it. For those who've listened before, thank you for joining us. And if you're listening for the first time, don't worry. We promise that we will be gentle, but be careful. Richard Sherman might shut you down. Show's run just like a real NFL football game. We have 4 quarters, and we have a halftime. In quarter 1, Will give us our news from the NFL. And then following a 60-second rant that Will won last show, the second quarter will be our recap of the Steeler game. You don't want to miss that. We also have a caption that picture where we take a picture from last week's game. At halftime, we have the best Seahawk-themed play-along game on the internet. It's 12th Man Fan Jam Halftime Trivia. And then following a special top 3 from me about the worst Vikings of all time, the second half is all about the Vikings. In quarter 3, we'll have a drink, we'll have an injury, we'll have some stats, and we'll talk about the latest odds and lines for the Vikings game. And then we'll put all that together in quarter 4. We'll make our predictions, our prognostications, and our game balls. But before we start, as always, we'd like to remind you to please like, share, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Contact us on this thread or the comment section of this video for feedback. Email us at 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com. Tell us what you think. Join us on our Facebook group, 12th Man Fan Jam Show. Lots of fun Seahawk discussion on there. We have a game thread during games. It's also a lot of fun. We're also on Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. Let us know your thoughts. And let's get right to the first quarter and news. Yes, news from around the NFL while you were passed out on the couch from eating too much turkey and watching a game that just drove you crazy. Here's our 12th Man Fan Jam news hound Shadowhawk Will with the news. Brought to you by our sponsor, the Seahawk Fan Defibrillator, a must-have accessory to watching any Seahawk game. Will, what you got for us this evening?
Well, Moses, I don't think it's going to come as a shock to anybody that the officials aren't doing so well this year in NFL games.
What?
I know. You
Nice.
can knock me over with a feather too, but but one of the things that is changing is that players are becoming more and more outspoken about the more and more blunders that they're putting up with. One example of this came after the 49ers-Cardinals game last week, in which the 49ers were called for 13 penalties overall, and in which Cardinals coach Bruce Arians said, quote, "The officials were struggling mightily and that they can't count to 3. But probably the best comment from that game came from 49ers guard Alex Boone, who said the following: "I'm not really too worried about getting fined. I thought those refs sucked. You call running into a player when no one even touched you? If you don't like what we say, then don't like what we say. Don't throw a flag for it. That's what I'm sick about this league. This is supposed to be a man's game. Be a man. That's what pisses me off, that guys like that work in this league and work on this field and we have to deal with it. Whatever." It was a terrible call. They had terrible calls all game. I don't care what the league says. I don't care what Roger says. Roger Goodell.
Roger.
It's the truth. You don't like it, get the hell out of here.
Wow.
So the mood amongst players is getting uglier. And I know the mood amongst fans is getting uglier.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It definitely is. Roger, he's on a first name basis with the head of the commissioner. Me and Roger. Roger can do what Roger wants to do.
Should have called him Raj.
Raj, baby.
I'm just glad that Will verified which Roger he was talking about. I was confused. I thought Roger Moore, Roger Rabbit. I wasn't sure.
Well, the way this league is being run lately, it's kind of up in the air.
Kind of Roger Rabbit, a little bit Roger Rabbit. Mark, you see a decrease in the intelligence of the refs and their calls?
Well, how much intelligence do they have to begin with?
Well said.
I don't know. It's sad because it's so commonplace that I hardly flinch or blink at anything. The first thing I check especially whenever we score, is if the little flag logo pops down from the top of the screen. I have to have a 10-second delay before I celebrate anything.
Yes, and I got so mad because I don't think it was a touchdown, but there was a play, and I don't know what game it was. It might have even been ours. I don't know. But there wasn't, that little flag icon didn't come up. And then, after it, they're like, "Oh, there's a penalty." I'm like, "You guys are supposed to let me know this." Daggone it!
That's
I got
cheating.
excited.
That's like putting a relationship change status on Facebook, isn't it? You didn't do it. You didn't do it on the
Yeah,
screen. It
you
doesn't
didn't
matter.
Dang it!
Delay a
So-
game on the
though,
refs.
Well,
I
I
have
think
got I've got some sympathy with the refs a little bit though, is because I think the rules are so badly designed now that they've
Yes.
been messed around with so much that I don't know what the hell they're calling anymore. I don't think they do either. I think half the time now they're just saying we think we saw something, let's go and refer it, because that's what's going to happen next season. You know it's going to happen next season. Every call is going to be reviewable, every single call, and these games are suddenly going to take 5 or 6 hours to finish.
exactly.
They just need to. I think it's gotten to the point where they should, make a stance and outright just, fire some of these guys. I mean, they don't like to do that, but it that will definitely send, a signal to the crew. I mean, they're union and
Make them full time.
Well, didn't they? But
they're
didn't
part-time
they
employees.
pull a crew this week, right?
They did.
Yeah,
They
there
did
was a
pull
crew that was fined. Yeah.
For
they
their
demoted.
embarrassment.
Yeah, the Niner
Pulled
game.
off the Monday Night Football game. Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled off the Monday night game. Yeah.
And the crew that did the Monday Night Football game last night will probably be pulled off some other game next time. 'Cause, man,
Yes. That
we're
was
talking about
interesting.
them throwing flags when they think they saw something. That was
Yeah.
quite obviously not a face mask last
Yeah.
night.
But they
That
thought
was
they
crazy.
saw, maybe, kind of.
They
It
should
reminds me of when Brandon Browner first came in the league, where he would hit somebody, and you'd see on replay it was a legal hit, but just he had hit people so hard, and corners aren't supposed to be able to do that. And just the way the players he was hitting reacted, the refs are like, man, that had to be something. They just throw a flag.
Exactly. Well, Will, what else are you going to hit us with?
Well, I can't hit you too hard because I'll get flagged.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, hitting a defenseless podcast host, 15 yards. Okay. You know the old expression, those who can't do, teach?
Yes.
Moses.
As a teacher, I can tell you that's something I hear quite often.
As I figured you would appreciate that. Well, the corollary is those who can't run a team, commentate.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm talking about former
12 Man
Lions
Fan Jam?
team president Matt Millen, who has been working for Fox for a while now and was working the Buccaneers-Colts game last Sunday and finally acknowledged the obvious. Quote, "A little bit of a tactical error on my part. I had this fleeting dream that I thought maybe I could run a team. Sorry, Detroit. It didn't quite work out."
What?
Wow.
I should point out that the Lions are currently looking for a new general manager, but I don't think Millen should wait by the phone.
My God.
Sorry,
That is awesome.
Detroit. Well, that's because
Yeah.
he took a
My bad,
receiver
Detroit.
like for 4 straight years. Remember?
Yeah. He did.
And
I'm
none
not
of them
kidding.
worked
Then they
out.
got golden tape.
And then he finally got one. It was, I think, was he the one that got Calvin Johnson? I think he did. He was a 4th receiver in 4 years or something.
I think so. I think he was still there.
And
then.
he's the only one that's ever done anything ever.
Well, him and Barry Sanders, they had those two guys.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's about
Oh
it.
God. Sorry, Detroit.
Who's that Rodgers receiver?
Was that?
Charles Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
That
God.
was the first guy. I think he had 15 total catches in his
Yes.
whole career.
And then Williams, which we're all familiar with.
He went to Dallas after.
Yeah.
See, the thing is,
They
when-
had 2 Williams. They had Mike Williams, then Roy Williams.
Yes, they did. And
See,
both
when
of them were
Mark-
horrible.
When Mark says Rogers, then I thought he was talking about Roger Goodell again. I thought he's on first name basis with Roger Goodell as
And
well.
we're back. Everything's sick.
Hey, everybody knows Raj.
Yeah.
Hey, Raj.
Well, I'm
He's
sure
not the
he's
name
not
of-
the first person to apologize to Detroit.
Is that the alien bloke out of American Dad? Is that Roger?
I don't know. What is the
that
name of
might
the
be.
alien dude on American
think-
Dad?
No, he's definitely not the NFL commissioner because he's not an American Dad. But I think it's the
No.
I think it's the name of the alien bloke as well. But he does look a little bit like Roger Goodell.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, we're learning so much tonight. Will, you can't possibly top that.
Well, I'm going to do my best, Moses. My final news item is about the team that those lovable losers, the Cleveland Browns.
God.
They,
I don't know about lovable.
they are going to hit a little bit of a milestone this Sunday when they start Austin Davis at quarterback because they can't trust Johnny Manziel not to go out drinking every night. Since returning to the NFL in 1999, after this Sunday, the Browns will have started 24 different quarterbacks in at least one game.
Wow.
Davis
That's a
will
good
be the
round
24th.
number.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Since 1999, starting quarterbacks for the Browns have been Tim Couch, Ty Detmer, Doug Peterson, Spurgeon Wynn, Kelly Holcomb, Jeff Garcia, Luke McCown, Trent Dilfer, Charlie Fry, Derek Anderson, Ken Dorsey, Brady Quinn, Bruce Gradkowski, Colt McCoy, Jake Delhomme, Seneca Wallace, Brandon Whedon, Thaddeus Lewis, Jason Campbell, Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel, Connor Shaw, Josh McCown, and now Austin Davis.
Tim Tebow.
24 starting quarterbacks in 16 seasons.
Oh my God.
They've got to get
And
Tebow
both
in there.
McCown brothers, by the way.
Both
like the
McCown
Mar-
brothers, because you can't just have one.
Like the Mariners with their managers. That is ridiculous.
And GMs, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good old
You're
Charlie.
right.
I heard Charlie Fry and I laughed because, we had Charlie.
Oh, and
Seneca.
for contrast, since 1999, the New England Patriots have started 3 quarterbacks: Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady, and Matt Castle.
That's crazy. When you started going through that list, I was like, God, that reminds me of Ace Ventura. I remember Ray Finkel's dad's like, what do you know about Ray Finkel? And he takes a big breath. He's like,
Yeah.
Soccer style kicker went to such and such, and one hell of a model American.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I don't miss those times, Mark, when we would go through about the Kelly Stauffer era and the Stan Gelbaugh era and the Glenn Foley
Freeze.
era we mentioned last episode.
Yeah, hearing those names for yellow QBs is enough to start a panic attack. It's just and those Browns QBs. It's like a who's who of the has-been league.
It is.
I mean, it's just it's unreal. I heard something on Jim Rome too that since 1999 the Browns have lost 22 games on the final play of the game.
Oh, wow.
That is a ton.
Ouch.
It's like over one a year.
That's terrible. Over one a
And
year.
that's the team playing the Browns.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think we did that in I think it was a season opener when we had Ryan Lindell kicking. I think.
Yes.
Goal.
Yeah, that was 2001.
2001. Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
But
that's
on the
right.
plus side is that the people who have to put the jersey numbers and names on the back of those jerseys are making a fortune because they're like continually having to change them. I mean, they do a wonderful
Very
job.
true.
Very true.
Yeah, actually,
And they've got plenty of practice.
Yeah. Browns are
Will-
creating jobs.
What Will forgot is all those QBs got staph infections and left Cleveland.
Oh.
No, just the center.
I've just worked it out. I now know why Johnny Manziel is always drunk. He's playing that shot game. Every time they get a new quarterback, he has to take a shot.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, man.
There it is.
That's a good call.
I think drinking is a good strategy for a quarterback. It keeps me loose and I can run around.
76 over half.
It worked at Texas A&M when I played Northwest Missouri State.
Oh, Hama. Oh, Hama.
Omaha. Oh Lord. Did we all do our drunk Johnny Manziel? Now is anyone left?
Just Johnny
We're good.
Manziel. Get him
Okay.
on.
All right. Well, now that there's no Manziel, there's no Jim Bob Cooter news. It's very sad, but still.
I'm afraid not. Sorry,
Yeah, it's
Moses.
okay.
I tried.
That's okay. We still appreciate it. Thank you, Will, very much.
Anytime.
That'll be the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
Lots of wonderful shows still ahead. We play trivia. We preview the Vikings game. But after Will's sexy 60-second rant, it's the second quarter.
Let's
maybe.
get it on.
And we look back at last week's thrilling Seahawk victory over the Steelers. And I get my lips fixed next.
And now it's time for a 12th Man Fan Jam 60-second rant.
You know you make me wanna
Rant.
I don't want to get off on a rant here.
Alex Boone is right. The officiating in the NFL does suck. Matt's right, too, in that part of the problem isn't the officials. It's the rule. I mean, how did we get to a point where we don't even know what a catch is anymore? And that's just one of the problems. I mean, whoever heard of an illegal bat before Seattle supposedly committed that penalty yet wasn't called for it in the Monday Night Football game against Detroit? It's ridiculous. The rule book is starting to look like the tax code. It's just huge. Nobody knows it. Everybody's in violation. Everybody's screwing up. Roger Goodell has done a lot of things for the NFL over the last several years. A few of them have even been good for the league. But this is the biggest challenge he has got to face in this next offseason. Forget getting a team in LA, that'll happen. Forget trying to export the NFL around the world. How about fixing the biggest problem with the NFL right now? Officials who don't know the rules and rules that don't make sense. And before we take the field next year, can we just have a definitive answer as to what a catch is? Please?
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Welcome to the second quarter as we take a look back at the Steelers game from last week. Remember to join our 12th Man Fan Jam show group on Facebook. Email us at 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com. And we are on Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. Second quarter brought to you by our sponsor, the Minnesota Viking dishwashing liquid. Yes, get out all those tough stains except rings around your bowls. Yes, try as you might with Minnesota Viking dishwashing liquid, it can't get out a Super Bowl ring. All right. Let's talk about last week's game, a thrilling 39-30 victory for your Seattle Seahawks over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will, were you at that game, I believe?
I was.
Would you like to share us your views of that game from the crowd?
Well, my voice came back yesterday in full, so that was nice. But
we appreciate those who were not there. Appreciate that, by the way.
Oh, it was one of those games where after the fact, it's like, oh man, that game was so great. Oh, I'm so glad. During which you're just having one heart attack after another, just wondering what's going to happen. But I believe we have witnessed Russell Wilson's best ever game as a Seahawk. I mean, he's got the stats. I mean, he topped the fantasy leaderboards for I think the first time ever. But more importantly, he did everything that he needed to do, everything that we've been saying on the show that he's needed to do for weeks. Trust his offensive line, stay in the pocket, get the ball out early. And he did all those things. He was decisive. And he also, when the situation called for it, he still showed that, hey, he's still got the scrambling ability. He can dodge would-be sackers and scramble out of the pocket, get the ball out. And I was as impressed with Wilson in that game as I ever have been, and we're going to need that coming down the stretch.
I agree with you. Let's since you brought it up, I happen to have some fun things about Wilson's performance here in front of me. 3 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter, 5 touchdown passes overall, 21 out of 30 for 345, 70% completion record, 147.9 quarterback rating.
That good?
Yeah, but the fourth quarter, when you win the games we've been told over and over, the final 15 minutes, Wilson, 8 for 10 for 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, and of course, no interceptions, no fumbles. He completed his final 8 throws, including the 80-yard touchdown pass on a 3rd and 10, which, I was happy that we were going to get the first down. And then I saw Baldwin turn the corner. I'm like, dude, get away from the sideline. And then, what broke loose. But I'm glad you brought that up. Russell Wilson, without question, an amazing, amazing game. Dustin, your views on the game?
I thought it was great to finally get that monkey off the back where opponent scores, I think it was 28 points or more, and the Seahawks hadn't won and beat them in the Pete Carroll era.
Right.
Things changed. and it was so much fun. And I like that Russell threw his 5 touchdowns to not Jimmy Graham, not Percy Harvin or anybody else, the shiny, awesome pieces that everybody loves. He threw it to the pedestrian wide receivers that have been there with him almost from the get-go, proving that even when an all-star guy goes down, the core of the team is still there, and they're still making things happen. So, Jimmy going down was a big deal, obviously, I think it's more of a big deal to the league than it'll be the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's going to get them back to where they need to go, where they need to be, and that's one of those games, one of those wins that it's just going to catapult them. They're going to be able to ride that wave for a while, man. There's so many positives in that one. It's hard to bring them all up, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Those pedestrians you're talking about obviously is Baldwin and Curse. Baldwin and Curse combined for 13 catches, 192 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Not bad for a bunch of supposed appetizers, as Chris Carter used to say. But yeah, it was nice to see, and they've really come along great. And like you said, he's not going to hurt. I don't think Graham's going to hurt us as much as other teams would have been hurt with Graham. Although Graham was having a spectacular game, of course. But we're pretty well taken care of at tight end, I think. Matt, what are your thoughts about the game?
It was one of the few games where I didn't actually feel nervous throughout any part of this game. And that was, that's unusual because normally the Seahawks, they're biting my nails, pacing around a lot, swearing, throwing stuff, all that sort of stuff. This one, no, was a complete relax. I felt Wilson was in control. I think this was the thing for me. I don't know whether it's because he didn't have to worry about handing it off to Marchand to make sure Marchand gets his way, or he just seemed to make good decisions. That's what he seemed to be doing. And, when a quarterback's in the zone and making good decisions and, receivers are getting themselves open and being able to make good decisions and the defense is stepping up and getting turnovers, that's it. That's what we want. That's Seahawks football. That's what we saw for the last 3 years. That's, now it's back. And for this game, and can we ride this out to the end of the season? Yeah, I think we probably can.
Well done. I'm glad you felt that way because I guess I took the stress out for all of us. My little Mo watched the game with me, and little Mo got in my face and said, I still believe in this football team. And he actually literally screamed in my face, and because I got a little angry, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. But I was a little disappointed the part where I got a little too animated for a 10-year-old, and he didn't like that. So, but I took it all for you, so you don't have to worry about the stress. I took that. Mark, how did you view this game?
Oh man, I mean, this was just, I posted on Facebook that my head was just scrambled hours after that game ended. There was so much stuff going on. It was just. Yeah, the bottom line is we held on. I did not expect a shootout. I thought my score was 24-23. It was still a nail biter for sure. Wilson was off the charts, and Rawls, what stood out for me was just how quick and his vision and footwork and his power. He's really, really coming into his own. The not holding or maintaining momentum was frustrating. We score, and then the defense is just giving up huge plays, and these 3rd and longs were driving me nuts.
Yes,
3rd and 14, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, and it was just like I know it's Big Ben, and I know the Steelers are pretty good offensively, and they have great receivers, but it was just maddening, and I'm just glad they held on. We needed that game, we need them up, and they held off that key 6th loss, and it's. We finally have. Who would have thought it would take us all this time to have a winning record, 6-5, by week 12, and it is momentum, and we got another huge game coming up, but at least we won this one, and it's not dire straits just to get back to 500 in week 13.
Exactly right. Let's go ahead and play off that defense because that is when I got my angriest was I believe next to the last drive for the Steelers where they kicked the field goal. 3rd and 14, they dump off a screen pass to D'Angelo Williams, who has 9 yards to go with 3 Seahawks in front of him, and he gets it. And that's what I kind of went a little crazy in my house. So let's talk about that, because there are two sides to this. Now, the offense, wow, they were really clicking and they put up 39 points, and that's great. And I'm glad you brought up Rawls, because people are forgetting in this game, because Russell was so amazing. Rawls 21 carries, 81 yards, touchdown. He was more than efficient. He had a great game. It just came down to, in the fourth quarter, we had to throw the ball because it was there. But we could have run the ball. Rawls was running effectively. That's the important thing to remember, I think, especially going into this week. Don't forget, Rawls has had 2 straight weeks of running the ball effectively. But here's my question, and I'll start with Will. The defense gives up big play after big play after big play. Now, this week, in my opinion, there was at least a jersey there that they were either being covered. So I think give the Steelers receivers credit. They are amazing. But are we in trouble with this defense? Has the shift on this team gone from defense to offense now? What do you think, Will?
Well, I think it's been clear all year that our defense is not what it once was. That being said, I don't think we're going to be giving up 456 yards passing each week. Mm-hmm. And you really do have to give a lot of credit to Ben Roethlisberger and the Steeler receivers. They've got a great receiving core, and Roethlisberger is a very good quarterback who is very accurate when throwing the deep pass, as unfortunately we saw. So you got to take that into account. Now, we weren't getting the pass rush in the first half. We've started getting in Roethlisberger's face a bit in the second half. That definitely helped. But yeah, our offense is going to have to step up a bit. Our defense is going to have better games than what it had last week. And look who we have coming up. We got the Vikings. Okay, Bridgewater's pretty good, but biggest problem there is Adrian Peterson. Mm-hmm. After that, you've got the Ravens with Matt Schaub at quarterback. Yeah, okay. Then we've got the Browns. Yeah, okay. Then you got the Rams. Yeah, okay. Basically, we won't have another prolific passing attack to worry about until the Cardinals, week 17. And that's if they don't have everything sewn up and rest their starters at that point.
Right.
So we've got the defense has a couple of games to right the ship. And if our offense can continue at or near the pace that it was at this past game, and the past couple of games, really, we're going to be just fine.
Yep. Mark, your thoughts on the defense? You okay about everything? You okay about, because Chris Richard is getting some heat right now. I mean, he has never had a defensive coordinator position. There seems to be times that people say, I don't, but people say that there are times where they look like they don't know what they're doing, or they're trying things and it's not working, and he doesn't seem to be able to, make the right calls under pressure. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, with him, it's his first stint. I just, I can't, when you look out on the field, all the X's and O's and everything else, I mean, everything looks very similar defensively. And on TV, it's always following the ball, so you're not seeing how the defense is moving, by piece on the screen. But, I'm just wondering if at times he overthinks it and he's getting too cute on third and longs and trying to trick the opponent's offense, but all he ends up doing is maybe confusing his own guys. I don't know. I mean, the biggest blunder in that regard that came up is Greg Olson's touchdown that Carolina game. The defensive signal. I mean, and it couldn't come at a worse time. But I don't know. It's just I think a little bit is from his inexperience, and then. The other thing I noticed too is I don't know where we are sack total wise, but the pressure is, and it just opposing QBs look like they have so much more time than they've had in the past. It's just sit in that pocket, and especially someone like Roethlisberger will just pick you apart. So
exactly.
The defense moving forward, I expect a better game. And we'll get more into this later, but Teddy Bridgewater is 8 touchdowns and 7 interceptions on the season going into this game.
Right,
so
right.
We catch a huge passing break.
Yes,
there,
we
so
do.
We'll see.
Dustin, are you happy with Shed's performance at defensive back?
Shed's been great. I was surprised in the preseason to see him line up at corner. I thought he was more of a safety, and but I was impressed with him in the preseason. And then I was really happy whenever Kerry Williams got benched and they threw Shed in there because I think he's a better player than Shed. I think overall, well, first of all, that last game, you knew the receivers were going to be fast. They're scorchers, man. They burn it up on the field. The safeties are going to have to play back. The linebackers are going to have to play back, which meant, in knowing that you're going to leave some stuff underneath, and that's exactly what happened. And so that didn't bother me too much. I knew it was going to happen. They just had to adjust to it when it did happen after they figured out what the Steelers were going to do. And then with Richard being a new defensive coordinator, you knew there was going to be growing pains, and a lot of them went through early in the season. Now, his best decision he's made, though, was, assuming it was his, could have been Pete Carroll's, was benching Kerry Williams. And then Jeremy Lane coming back helped a lot, too.
Yes.
I think that I've mentioned it before. I think a big part of the reason that the defense isn't what it once was is because of the depth in the secondary. And I think that Richard Sherman moving around and following a main receiver is a product of the lack of depth in the secondary and the drop-off in talent from previous corners opposite of Sherman. So with Lane coming back and Shed over there, I think they're going to be able to play more conventional Seahawks defense where maybe Sherman doesn't have to move around so much. And they can trust the other guys that are out there and let the safeties play how they play because they trust the guys around them. That happens, and this defense is going to be just fine. We just have to keep making Kerry Williams inactive or hide him somewhere, sweep him under the rug.
We have to hide Kerry Williams. Matt, your thoughts on the defense? Are we coming around? Are we getting better, or should we be concerned?
I don't think I've got anything more to add really than what Dustin has said and what the others have said. But what I will say is this: I was a little bit concerned that Hauschka had another blocked. Something's not right there. I don't know why. It's not normal. So that concerns me quite a bit. And I was getting a little bit annoyed at penalties again, starting to creep up again. 8 for 76 yards. Yeah. And whether it's Brogan O'Coon or whether it's Bennett.
Sweezy jumping on a pile.
Yeah. Oh no! What was that?
God.
That was the one moment.
You know what happened on that? You know what happened on that? There was I went back and I watched it a few times, and I'm pretty sure what happened was there was a dude, he was up there, and he was trying to help push forward, right? And then, like a lot of the linemen have done this year, this isn't a punchline, by the way, but like what a lot of the linemen have done this year, he went to spot and hit a guy to push him forward, push him downfield, and he missed. He whiffed and ended up on top of the pile.
Probably.
He had his hands up like he was trying to help push forward.
Yeah.
And then he just ended up on top of the freaking pile.
Yeah.
Well, and it does seem with the penalties, we are prolonging drives on defense with penalties at the wrong time, and we're stopping ourselves with penalties on offense. That seems to be a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will say just really quickly on penalties is that the Russell Wilson personal foul penalty pushing out of bounds. I didn't think that was a penalty in my opinion. And I know it was in our favour, so I should probably just shut up. But as far as I was concerned, he's a runner at that point. He's well out of the pocket. He's got the ball. He's tucked it and he's running, and he's gonna get hit. I mean that's the point. He's not a quarterback at that point. So some of these this rulings about excessive tackling or whatever. Yeah. It's rubbish, and it's that's the sort of stuff that they can get rid of really easily. At the end of the day, they're wearing armor, they're wearing padding, they're wearing helmets. They can be tackled. There's no harm tackling them in the zone or out the zone. Leave that sort of stuff alone. But so a little bit about penalties and definitely Hauschka. That's not normal.
Yeah, you're right.
One thing I want to bring up though is that the penalties. Yeah, we've got to clean them up, but for this one game, they didn't really stop us. We had 7 third downs of 10 or more yards, and we converted 5 of them, including 3 on one drive, which is very impressive. So, I mean, you can't count on that each week. Obviously, we got to clean up the penalties, but in this game, we did a great job of getting out of.
But I know
getting out of the holes we dug for.
But I know there were at least a couple third downs. The Seahawks had stopped somebody, and then there was a roughing the passer call. There was an offsides call. There were a couple calls.
The offsides call on Bruce Irvin was BS. He timed it perfectly. They just threw the flag.
But it was there, and on third down, when we would get off the field, it became a first down, and I know they wound up scoring on one of those drives.
Yeah, that was on the refs though. That was on the refs for jacking that up.
And can I also just say 2-point conversions? I don't know. Just take the points.
Yeah, their calls on 2-point conversions.
Yeah, you got that right.
Continue to baffle me. I agree with that. They got to come up with something a little more clever.
Yeah, just these I can't stand that fade play anyway, and it's just oh god, it looks awful. It's just
they need to come up be a little bit more. At least that one where they ran Rawls. I'll take that. Run Rawls and have Rawls stopped at the half-inch line. I'll take that.
I'll take that one.
It's an attack.
Fade at the top.
Yeah,
I agree.
Trying to pass it into the end zone from the 2-yard line doesn't seem to be something we do well this year.
No, I think we need to. I agree. I agree.
I had one last point I wanted to make about something Matt said earlier. He had mentioned that the offense playing the way it did was getting back to Seahawks football offense, and I would say I disagree about that a little bit because
I didn't say about their offense being back to Seahawks. The team felt as if we were in control, not specifically about because it's not a running. If it was a running, we didn't do enough running touchdowns and running plays, and there's no Lynch beast mode, so it's not the Seahawks offense of old. But as a unit, it felt as if they were working as a unit again, like the Seahawks football, not specifically just the offense.
Okay, I misunderstood a little bit, but my point was going to be that Russell Wilson was doing it from the pocket, which normally he scrambles and runs around and throws.
Yeah.
If this is something that he can do consistently, that is a whole nother dynamic that teams are not used to. Because if he can become an adequate or even good, I mean, he was excellent.
He was excellent. In fact, I believe he's fourth. I see a stat this week that out of the pocket, he's fourth in the NFL as far as quarterbacks from throwing out of the pocket for the season.
Something like that. Yeah, something like
that.
He's pretty good.
So
he's done well in the pocket.
So please continue to blitz him, and I think he's even more deadlier against the blitz, isn't he, Will?
He has been of late. Earlier in this season, he was miserable against the blitz, but I just think getting Lewis in there at center, and that's helped the line, and that's helped Wilson, and Wilson in turn has helped the line, and he's beating the blitz again like he used to, better than he used to be honest.
Yes. So please out there, if you're listening to this show, which I'm sure you are, because everyone does, please continue to blitz him and make him stay in the pocket, because it seems to me like, that's going to work in our favor. I don't know.
He's figured out. It reminds me of that third down issue we had a few years ago, where they had to get better on third down. I think it was his rookie year. The big thing, we got to get better on third down. Got to get better on third down. And then they figured out a way to get better on third down. Right now, they're like, people are trying to keep him in the pocket. Got to get better throwing from the pocket. Got to get better throwing from the pocket. And then he throws 5 touchdowns from the pocket. So
his last 2 weeks against the blitz, he's a 158.3 quarterback rating, and he has completed out of the pocket 84% of his passes. So please continue to do that.
Well, he's too short to be able to throw over those front guys either, so he's not.
They actually mentioned. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but they mentioned it on actually a pass that got blocked. They mentioned wow, look at that release point on Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I know.
So high.
I heard that. I thought, dude, where have you been the last 3 years?
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing we discovered. All right, and let's go ahead and close the book on this game, and we're going to play a little bit of Caption That Picture. Yes, we close out talking about the game from the week before by taking a picture from that game and giving it our own little caption. And this week's picture is a picture of our fearless head coach, Pete Carroll, who doesn't get enough credit, by the way. Pete Carroll, and he is animately pointing on the field or at somebody or whatever, and he looks very, very distressed. So we'll start with Matt. Matt, do you have a caption?
I've got a couple, but I'll just do one.
Okay. Caption that picture. Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy Lane, that turf monster that knocked you over. He's run that way.
Do the other one. Do your other one.
If Lane had just stayed on his feet, I would have gotten my prognostication.
I know you would have.
My other one would be, are you ready?
Yeah.
6 and 5. 6 and 5.
Very clever.
Nice.
It's musical.
It's musical.
Hey, Will, you got a caption?
Well, Matt actually just stole mine.
So. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, wow. Oh, boo.
That's all good.
The thing is, Will, is that I just suddenly found this hat here, right? And I put this hat on my head,
and then he's like Frosty the Snowman.
You took
it. His comedy came to life.
The hat is magical. Mark, you have a caption?
Yeah, I do.
Caption that picture, Mark.
Caption: Offense, you now clear for takeoff.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
You're
Dustin,
now free to move around the stadium.
caption that picture.
Exits that way, Ben. Don't go in the bathroom.
I
Oh,
almost
there
said
you go.
that one.
I need
I
that
almost said
bathroom
that
touch.
one, but I didn't. All right, I have two. All right, they're both Carol's saying. The first thing Carol says is, "Fellas, come on, the playoffs are this way. Come on." And the other one is, "All right, Helfit, put down that brush and get out there already."
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
true.
So maybe it was picture day. You had to get
Maybe
his
it
hair
was.
right.
All right, well, let's take a picture of our 2-minute warning.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
Yes, it's a 2-minute warning. We take a quick look back at last week's predictions, prognostications, and game balls. Once again, we are keeping score on our predictions. Game balls get 3 points, prognostications 3 points. If it doesn't happen, you get a point to the closest. Prediction on the button, both teams scores 5 points. One team scored 3 points, and if nobody gets it, the closest gets a point. All right. Score predictions. Ian Robert Smith from England was our guest predictor this week. He said 17-16. As you see the scores there, I had to give myself that one for 31-20 because I'm the only one who had a score over 25. So since it was 39-30, I gave myself the closest there.
That tells us that none of us saw this score coming, apart from even
no
Moses,
one.
who almost didn't.
I said 30-21, actually, not 31-20, but that's all right. Doesn't matter. Prognostications were very good. Both myself and Mark and Matt got our 2 interceptions, and Dustin got the toss. So congratulations, Dustin, on that one. Yeah, you're excited. I can tell. Okay. And
I
game ball.
accept
He's
on
fainted.
Dustin's behalf.
I'm not.
Sorry,
Yeah,
my mic
Will has
was
played a part of
muted.
Dustin. Hey,
I was
Dustin,
coughing.
congratulations.
I was coughing and I muted my mic. I was being all professional. And
He's
shit,
all choked
so.
up. Yeah. That's what she said. All right, game balls.
You like me. You really like me.
Between Sherman had a great game, and we didn't talk about this when we talked about the game, but Sherman shutting down Brown, even though the other guys got 1,000,000 yards. Brown was held 60, 70, something like that.
60 some yards, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just amazing for that guy because he's been 12 targets, 6 catches, 51 yards. So that is just fantastic. And an interception, but we have to go with Wilson, I think, for the game ball in this one.
Yes.
That means Dustin's the big winner this week with 6, Moses with 4, Matt with 3, and Mark with 3. Which means as we go into this week, Will continues his domination with 37 points, Moses 24, Mark and Dustin 22.
Look at the scoreboard, Matt.
Guest 12, and Matt.
I'm gonna keep this hat on. This is awesome.
We'll keep it on because it's halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
Yes, it's time to get ready for the best Seahawk-themed trivia show on the internet you can play along with. Another can't-miss edition of 12th Man Fan Jam Halftime Trivia coming up next.
Hey, this is Matt, all the way from merry old England, and you're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12th Man Fan Jam Halftime Trivia with your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes. Thank you, me. Welcome to 12th Man Fan Jam Halftime Trivia, the game where you, the listener and viewer, can play along with the posse while I subject them to trivia questions based on the Seahawk upcoming opponent. This week, our contestants are the posse themselves, Matt, Will, Mark, and Dustin, and here are the rules.
So here's how the trivia game works. There will be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there will be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tied players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12th Man Fan Jam Trivia Champion and gets to have a special 60-second rant between the first and second quarter of the very next episode of the 12th Man Fan Jam Show. As an added bonus to those listeners on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen, so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well if you wish. If you'd like to play along, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline for each of the contestants. Before the taping of this show, my two charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take this quiz. And if the contestants want to know what the kids said, they may ask that only once during the entire game show and only during the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12th Man Fan Jam Trivia.
Okay, the rules have been laid out, so let us play. The returning champ this week is Will. So Will gets the pick, but before you do, Will, let me tell you how it's going to go. We do have 2 rounds of 4 questions, that was mentioned. However, there are 3 questions this round that have to do with the Vikings and Seahawks head-to-head. Vikings and Seahawks head-to-head. But because we're playing in Minnesota, there is 1 question each round that is devoted to the Prince of Minnesota, and that is, of course, Prince.
Prince Fielder.
So if you hear this sound, you are about to have a Prince question. So,
Oh no.
choose wisely.
So
Will?
is this what it sounds like when doves cry?
Yeah. Yes, it will be. Will, 1, 2, 3, or 4?
1.
And these are prearranged, by the way. I don't. Matt, 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3, please.
Dustin, 2 or 4?
I said 2.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
Say good day.
I said good day, sir. And I mean Mark gets 4. Here you go. All right. Will, are you ready?
Hit me.
All right. Question 1 is a football question. All right.
No.
The last time the Seahawks beat the Vikings in Minnesota, who had the most receiving yards for the Seahawks in that game? Was it Bobby Ingram, Daryl Jackson, or Jerry Rice? Bobby Ingram,
Daryl Jackson. No,
Bobby Ingram,
that's not-
Daryl Jackson, or Jerry Rice? Who had the most receiving yards for the Seahawks the last time they beat the Vikings in Minnesota?
I'm going to guess D-Jack.
He's going to guess D-Jack. You went with D-Jack. Well, Little Mo and Mosette went with Jerry Rice after Little Mo looked at me and said, Jerry Rice played for the Seahawks? Yes, he did. All right, because he's only 10. Give him a break.
Right.
But you got it.
Nice.
Daryl Jackson, 135 receiving yards against the Vikings the last time they played.
And I remember he ran out of bounds when we were trying to run out the clock, and Bruce nearly got up and threw Jeff and Dee Dee's TV out the door. You would not like Painted Hawk when he's angry, trust me.
No, and that doesn't happen very often. But when it does, I've heard stories, yes. Yes, Painted Hawk. You would not like him when he's angry. This is a guy that you want on your side. There's no doubt about it. Dustin, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, question 2 is a football question.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Mark are sweating.
The tension builds.
Oh, no.
Number 2, what are the most points the Seahawks have ever scored against the Vikings, Dustin? Is it 41, 42, or 48? The most points the Seahawks have ever scored against the Vikings, 41, 42, or 48?
I'm supposed to know this, right?
Well, you can guess. It's a 1 in 3 chance.
You can
You
take
can
the
always
Prince
ask the
question
kids,
if you
you
want.
know.
I'll say 41.
41. Mosette said 41. Little Mo said 42. The answer is 48. 48,
You're a
2002. Yeah.
Oh,
And
Moses.
Dustin, better luck next time. All right, Matt. Matt, are you ready?
No.
Matt?
Play that funky music, white boy.
Matt,
Yes.
you have a football question.
Oh, no.
Not.
Mark sees where you're going. All right. Matt,
Yes.
the last time the Vikings played the Seahawks in Seattle, I believe, who was the leading rusher in that game? Was it Toby Gerhart, Marshawn Lynch, or Adrian Peterson? Who was the leading rusher in that game? Toby Gerhart, Marshawn Lynch, or Adrian Peterson?
Well, that would only be a couple of years back.
Yes.
Browner was on the team.
I'm trying to remember what sort of point in the season it was, and I can't remember. I'll say that. Well, I don't think Peterson, because I don't think he's done very well against us. So I'll go with Lynch.
Going with Lynch.
Hmm.
That's what Mosette did. She went with Lynch.
Yeah.
Little Mo went with Adrian Peterson. Toby Gerhardt.
Oh, would you look at that?
67 yards, led the game in
What
rushing.
did Lynch get? Do we know what Lynch had?
I think it was 50. It wasn't very much.
Oh,
it was 50. And I think Peterson had only 50 as well. But
I must
Gerhardt,
be thinking of a different game. I thought that was the one last time they were here was when AP took off from the line of scrimmage on the first play of the game.
That was
game
2012.
Yeah, we've had a game since. Yeah, I know, because that's the one Dustin said on our podcast. I said, Dustin, second play, they went 80 yards, and what was your reaction, Dustin? You said,
I don't remember.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah.
You said, there was this long pause, and you go, shit.
Yeah.
All right. So
that was on the best of Blue Wave. Good God.
Mark.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You got the Prince question. Here it is.
Am I going to win a raspberry beret if I get this right?
Absolutely.
Mark wants a raspberry beret. All right. Mark, what is Prince's last name? Is it Jones, Nelson, or Sanders? Come on, that's easy. Prince's last name, Jones, Nelson, or Sanders?
Wow.
I wish Matt had gotten this one.
I know. See, actually, I'm kind of glad that way I don't know that much about our 5'4" musical guest. Let's see here. I can't believe it. Wait, first, turn that down just a second.
Can't concentrate with the... Is driving you crazy?
Yeah, it is driving me crazy. Okay, hold on.
Prince's last name, Jones, Nelson, or Sanders. You can't Google with her on there? Is that the problem?
No, I'm not Googling it. It's just like, holy cow. I'm just going to say Sanders.
You're saying Sanders?
I'm saying Sanders. I have no idea.
He's saying Sanders. He seems very upset. Little Mo said Sanders. Mosette said Jones. Yeah. Prince Rogers Nelson is Prince's real name. All right. So, guys, wow. Will was the only one on the board that round. So, Will gets to pick the second round. This is going to be Vikings and Seahawks in common. Things that they have in common. Seahawks and Vikings. So,
like the mascots?
Well, we'll see. Will, would you like 5, 6, 7, or 8?
I'll take 5.
And remember, there is still a Prince question lurking in the shadows.
Make sure Matt gets that one.
Mark, would you like 6, 7, or 8?
Oh, it's me. Sorry. 6. I'm gonna go. Oh man, I gotta avoid that. Damn. I'm gonna go 8. There's no way you'll do it twice in a row at the end.
All right, Matt.
6 or 7. With fire
like, whatever.
You foolish man. I'll do 7. Now that I can't get the Prince question because Mark's picked it.
Dustin will be 6. Yeah. All right. Okay, here we go. Commonalities. Will, you have a football question.
Okay.
What do Fran Tarkington and Russell Wilson have in common? Now, Russell Wilson have in common. Now, Russell Wilson has been compared to Fran Tarkington, of course, the quarterback from the Vikings that went to 4 Super Bowls, I should say. Didn't win any. But they've compared them. So, what do these two guys have in common? Fran Tarkington and Russell Wilson. Did they both go to Wisconsin to play football? Were they both born in Richmond, Virginia? Or were they both drafted in the 3rd round? What do these two have in common, Will?
I gotta admit, that's a good question.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go with both born in Virginia, because Virginia is the quarterback.
Both born in Richmond, Virginia. Well, Little Mo and Mosette said they were both drafted in the 3rd round. And they were right. You know, people think Russell was raised in Richmond, Virginia, but he was actually born in Cincinnati. And at a young age, they moved to Richmond, Virginia. So it's very close. A little tricky question there for you.
I thought Tarkington was a later round than that. I guess not.
But they were both drafted in the 3rd round. and both of them grew up in Richmond, but Russell was not born in Richmond. So
you sneaky, sneaky guy.
I know, Dustin.
Wow.
I'm sneaky.
Starting to wish I'd gotten the Prince question.
I thought it was going to be that neither of them have had sex in 2015. That's what I thought.
For different reasons.
Oh my God.
No, actually, Tarkin was
old.
spotted at the Mustang Ranch a few weeks ago. So.
Oh my God. Trying to bail out Lamar Odom. All right, Dustin. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Prince, you got the Prince question.
Yeah.
So Matt and Mark can sleep easy. Here we go. Dustin.
Yeah.
How old is Prince? How old is Prince? Is he 53, 55, or 57? How old is Prince?
What are the options?
53, 55, 57.
Last time I went way under, so I'll go way over this time. I'll go 57.
He's going 57.
Yeah.
Little Mo and Mosette said 55. You said 57. You're right, he's 57.
Yeah.
Dustin's on the board. All right. Matt, you have a football question, obviously.
Yeah, then.
Steve Hutchinson. How many NFL games did Steve Hutchinson play in? Did he play in 159, 169, or 179? It's a lot of games. Steve Hutchinson. 159, 169, 179.
What did the kids say? Let's use the kids.
The kids. Mosette said 169. Little Mo said 179. Every time you use the kids, you nail it.
What did Little Mo say?
Little Mo said 179. Mosette said 169, and the other option is 159.
Well, I think one of them's probably right. I'm just not sure which one. I'll go with 169.
So you wanted to be sure on Little Mo, but then you went with Mosette.
Yeah.
With 169?
Yeah.
How in the hell do you do this? You're right. Mosette, 169.
The first question I've got right in 2 weeks, isn't it? I think.
And Matt is on the board.
For me, it's the hat. For Matt, it's the kids. So.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, Mark.
Worse.
This is a football question.
We're going to need a restraining order.
That's not good.
Mark, Nate Burleson was actually born in Canada. I don't know if you knew that. Nate Burleson, Seahawk and Viking receiver, was born because his dad at the time was playing for a CFL team. So my question, Mark, to you is, what CFL team was Nate Burleson's dad playing for when Nate was born? Was it the Calgary Stampeders, the Edmonton Eskimos, or the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? What CFL team did Nate Burleson's dad play for when Nate was born? The Calgary Stampeders, the Edmonton Eskimos, or the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Played defensive back, by the way.
Oh, wow. Canadian football.
Yeah, 55-yard line, 3 downs, get 10 yards, and an end zone that just goes on forever.
Yeah, it's a 3-acre game.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm just going to go Calgary just to I have no idea. Calgary.
Oh, Calgary. What the heck, right? Who knows?
Yep.
You know, I mean, Mosette said Edmonton Eskimos. Little Mo said Blue Bombers. But you got it right.
Oh, my goodness.
The Calgary Stamp. Everybody's got a point. So that means, of course, the special 2-point final question means there'll be no overtime. So, all right. The order we will go in will be Will will be last. Mark will be third. Matt will be second. And Dustin will be first. Here we go. The final question, gentlemen, is this. The last time the Seahawks beat the Vikings in Minnesota, how many rushing yards did Sean Alexander have? Sean Alexander was the leading rusher in that game. The last time the Seahawks won in Minnesota against the Vikings, how many rushing yards, Dustin, how many rushing yards did Sean Alexander have in that game?
In which game?
That game.
There was one?
There was one? Did I hear a niner? Okay.
Okay. So what are my options?
Your options are 0 to 1,000,000.
All right. So you said he's the leading rusher?
Okay, hold on. The last time the Seahawks beat the Vikings in Minnesota, how many rushing yards did Sean Alexander have? We can edit all that out, don't worry.
Oh no, don't edit it out. I'm just giving you crap.
Oh, I wasn't planning on it. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna say Sean Alexander had. I'll say 129 yards.
129 yards. Okay. 129. It's only a 2-hour show, folks. Okay, Matt. How many yards did Sean Alexander have in that game?
I would like to phone a friend.
They all tell you to piss off because they're sleeping.
110 yards.
110. Mark.
Yes, sir.
How many rushing yards did Sean Alexander have in Minnesota last time the Seahawks beat the Vikings in Minnesota?
For some reason, I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt for an overall great game yardage-wise, but his yards per carry is probably decent. I'm going to say 81 yards for Alexander.
81? Okay.
Ooh, that's probably a good go.
Mark, here are your guesses. Oh, Mark said 81, sorry. Will, here are your guesses. 81, 110, and 129. Last time the Seahawks beat the Vikings in Minnesota, how many rushing yards did Sean Alexander have?
Well, if memory serves, that game was in 2004, so he was still good. I'm going to go 130.
130?
Wow.
All right, here's what we got.
I'm hoping you guys bust on this one.
We got 81, we got 110, we got 129, we got 130. We do have a winner. The actual number of yards that Sean Alexander ran the last time the Seahawks beat the Vikings in Minnesota was 112. Can you believe this?
Oh.
It's happened again, folks.
Wow.
He wins
How does he do
again. Matt is our 12th man fan jam halftime trivia champ.
Oh.
Once again.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
We just got to retire the category.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I think that's what 8 out of the last 10 or something stupid. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is though, I sort of, as I say, I found that hat. I'll send you a picture of it so you can put it on. So you can put it on the screen.
Yes.
It was just lying. It was just lying next to my computer. So yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Oh dear.
Can't wait. My God.
Wow.
I was looking forward to the debut of Ride Captain Ride. This is very disappointing.
Mark is so disappointed. We
Sorry,
got the
Mark.
Sex Pistols again. Oh my God. What an amazing action-filled, award-winning version of halftime trivia. Coming up, we talk about the upcoming game, make our predictions for the Seahawks and the Vikings. But first, it's a special Viking-themed top 3 right after this.
Three is a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number.
Greetings, everyone. It's Moses here, and since we're playing the Vikings this week,
oh, you betcha, yeah.
I thought it would be a good time to hoist the sails and have another top 3.
Get over there!
This week, based from our Office and Prince's scarf collection, comes the top 3 worst Vikings of all time. At number 3, we have the movie Eric the Viking, or as I like to call it, let's try to remake Monty Python and the Holy Grail by taking all the unfunny pieces they left on the floor and mashing them together. This movie failed for 2 words, Tim Robbins. Like the movie, he isn't funny enough to be funny, and he's not serious enough to be taken seriously. I didn't know what to do watching this film, laugh at the mildly amusing parts or roll my eyes at the half-hearted attempt at drama. Either way, I lost 2 hours of my life watching this stink burger.
It stinks!
At number 2, we have Hagar the Horrible, a comic strip written about a red-bearded Viking that raided France and England for laughs.
You're not amused.
But here's the kicker. Known for raping, pillaging, and plundering the countryside, we're led to believe that this Viking is really a sweetheart deep down. It's like making a cartoon of those crazy terrorists. I can see it now. Terry, the terrible terrorist. He's a terrorist with a heart.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
At number 1, we have the Vikings on the Capital One commercials. Now, who was the genius that came up with this idea? Because there's nothing more attractive to customers than seeing dirty, smelly thieves use a credit card. What's in my wallet? Nothing I want you to know about in there, Stinky.
Yeah.
Having Vikings sell credit cards like asking the Nazis to sell furniture.
No, Chuck, let's not go there.
So that's the top 3 worst Vikings of all time. This is Moses reminding you that until next time, remember that all good things always come in threes.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Yes, welcome to the second half of episode 320 of your 12th Man Fan Jam show, where we take a closer look at the Seahawk opponent, the Vikings. Before we do, we want to recap our halftime trivia champion, Matt. Congratulations, Matt, again on winning trivia yet again, of course.
I can't take entire credit for it, really. It's sort of it was a mystical, magical moment, because I was sitting here and I suddenly noticed that there was this hat sitting next to me, so I decided to put that on, and suddenly I'll send you a picture of it so you can show the folks.
Yes,
suddenly,
yes, there it is. There's the beautiful picture.
Yeah, it was just lying next to the computer, so I just popped it on. And
well, I think your theme song should change. Then I think your theme show should be more like this. Congratulations, Matt.
I thought you were going to put The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music as well.
A little heavenly choir there for you. That's
beautiful.
Yeah. Just for the record, when I did it last week, that really was the way it happened. So
yeah, I know. But now you've set a precedent.
It seems to work. What can I say?
We're all going to wear goofy hats to win, but congratulations, Matt. Hey, guys, before we go on and talk about this game, let's have a quick drink with our drink of the week. Yes, drink of the week, where our 12th Man Fan Jam mixologist, Moses, who's me, conjures up a delicious drink based upon the Seahawk opponent. So, gentlemen, belly up to the 12th Man Fan Jam bar, and let me pour you a special new drink. Did you know that today, I read, was Bartender Appreciation Day, by the way? That's true. I'm not making that up. So we're having a drink in the honor of Bartender Appreciation Day, and you can just tell how excited the posse is about it. So, this week, gentlemen, I'm going to take a shot glass of your favorite carbonated soft drink. We're going to have some Viking beer, some Little King's cream ale. We're going to pour all that into a Viking drinking horn and shake it. And we're going to make a mini soda Viking. See? Shot glass, mini soda Viking. Thank you very much.
Clever.
I'll be here all week. One drink.
I did it.
Yes, one drink. You'll be looking to rape, pillage, and plunder the countryside. After 2 drinks, you'll think you're growing horns out of your hat. And finally, after 3 drinks, you're going to lose it 4 times in a Super Bowl. Okay.
Nice.
That's your drink of the week.
Yikes.
Thank you very much.
I lost it 4 times in the last Super Bowl.
Oh, here we go. Disclaimer. 12th Man Fan Jam doesn't advocate drinking or mixing the drinks. Blah, blah, blah. Moses doesn't know what he's doing. His milkshakes suck. His Kool-Aid, root beer schnapps. We know all that. Attempt the previous drink at your own risk. Remember, this was done for entertainment purposes only. And always remember to drink responsibly. All right. We look at the Vikings in the third quarter. We're going to talk about injuries, stats, and lines. Let's take a quick look at the tail of the tape real quick. When Seattle has the ball, you're looking at a Seahawk offense ranked 8th against Minnesota defense ranked 9th. However, Seahawks offense 2nd against the run. Minnesota defense 20th against the run. I think that's a big advantage. When Minnesota has the ball, you have a 28th ranked Minnesota offense against a 4th ranked Seattle defense, even though Minnesota is number 1 in the league in running the ball. So, that being said, we quickly look that over and think about how that's going to affect our predictions. And we will now turn it over to Medic Matt. Matt, what is an injury or 2 in this game that are key to this game?
Okay, well, the first thing is that Tammy the Hawk has injured one of the little feathers on her tail, so she might be flying. He might be flying a bit off kilter. So just watch out for that. Right, we've rubbed some ointment in it. It will be fine. Pete Carroll has got a bunion, but I've sorted that out for him, so that's not a problem. And also for real injuries as well, that Jordan Hill is out with a toe injury. Nothing I could do about that one. And obviously Jimmy Graham sort of did his knee in, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so those are the sort of 2 key ones for us. And then I think Dustin, who did you say was out for Minnesota?
Joseph, their defensive tackle.
That the foot injury, wasn't it? Yeah.
Linval Joseph, yeah.
Yeah, Linval.
Run stuffer, I believe.
Yeah, PFT puts him as the fourth, Pro Football Focus or whatever, puts him as the fourth best interior defensive lineman in the league. Apparently, he's just a linchpin for that team and a dude that really gets things going. Huge run stuffer, and I'm cool with him not playing.
Well, this week he's there
you go.
He's on the sofa and he's got his foot elevated, and I'm afraid he won't be playing.
All right.
Tough luck, Vikings.
That's good for us. Jimmy Graham, real quick. Jimmy Graham, a loss for sure. Look, Helfet and Wilson, Luke Wilson, are not Jimmy Graham, but we're okay there, aren't we, Will?
Well, we can do okay at the position. The thing with Graham was that defenses absolutely had to account for him, so we lose that. And Graham was playing and blocking better in recent weeks. It looked like it was just starting to come together, and then he gets hurt at the wrong time. But it's going to be a loss. It's not a backbreaker, but it's not going to be something to sneeze at either.
Yeah,
I say just ask yourself this: who was our tight ends last year at this time of year going into the playoffs?
Wilson.
Last year was last year. This is this year.
Not what I'm saying is Luke Wilson, Cooper Helfet, right? They're both there. I think we're going to be just fine.
I think we'll be okay. They're not Graham, but I think we're okay at tight end. I'm not worried about. In fact, right after Graham got injured, Wilson came in and caught a ball over the middle for a few yards, 10 yards, I think. So, and I'm not. Look, Graham is an amazing talent and a great guy, and I wish him the best. And I hope he heals quickly. We're all pulling for you here in 12th Man Fan Jam, Jimmy Graham, no question about it. But I think as you look at it from the standpoint of strategy, you're right. It's going to take away a lot of focus of other defenses. But I think our tight ends, if there was a position that we could lose somebody, I think tight end was one of those positions where we have a fair amount of depth, he says, without trying to make it sound like they're Jimmy Graham, because they're really not. But
it depends. It does depend a little bit on how well Rules gets sort of. If Rules really does get ahead of steam and starts to make some running yards, and we start playing a running game, then actually, he can have the same effect almost as Graham as the defenses will going to have to account for him if he's on there. But I think at the end of the day, I agree a bit with Will that I think the Graham factor was more about pulling defenses sort of out of their scheme. They had to account for him.
Yeah, good point. All right, that's injuries. Mark, what is your stat of this game coming up against the Vikings?
Well, I learned earlier that over the last 3 games, I believe, we have only surrendered 6 sacks as an offensive line. And so, in the last 3 games, one was tough, the other 2 were wins. So, obviously running the ball and Rawls, the progressing is key, but also, it's just that line showing that they can just do their job even half the time. And keep Wilson, it would be great early on if they establish a pocket and Wilson's thrown from a pocket and not always having to improvise. So I guess it would, coming into this, for me, it's just, sacks allowed. Which of course is different from pressures and everything. But this line, the more if they can just do a decent job, it just makes such a huge difference.
And I think they have. Matt, this offensive line has really done a better job, haven't they?
Well, I'm going to say. Oh, sorry. Just one more thing.
My
disclaimer is always this offensive line needs fixing. I do not want Carol or anybody thinking this is the group to bank on moving forward. Please draft more linemen, and now I'll hand it off.
We'll have to have their disclaimer up as well. Good point.
Yeah.
But offensive line much improved, Matt. Yes.
Well, yeah, but you don't manage to get a 4x4 red zone efficiency last week without it. You don't manage to throw 5 touchdowns without it. So yeah, absolutely they have, and I think that's all credit to them as well, because if you compare and contrast the last game with the first game. It's a world of difference. So yeah, absolutely. But I agree with Mark. It's not an area that we can now take our foot off the gas and think somehow it's fixed. It's an area that needs a little bit of depth, along with our secondary defense as well. That needs a little bit of depth, and we need to draft well to sort that out.
Well, and I also add 7 out of 13 third down conversions, which is pretty amazing.
Pretty absolutely amazing. It is.
Yeah. Well done. All right, let's go to our numbers game here with Dustin. Dustin, what kind of numbers did you find in this game that people are talking about?
Well, the whole week I was told it was a pick'em game. I checked, refreshed the thing in between quarters, and it looks like the Seahawks are now favored to win by 1 point. So
See, I've seen it back and forth. I actually saw the Vikings a couple of days ago, 0.5, half a point, and then the Seahawks a point. Yeah, it's been going back and forth. You're right. Which tells us what?
that who knows, according to Vegas, essentially.
Yeah, that real quick with the line change, the generic kind of rule of thumb apparently, isn't it, Dustin, that when you wake up, if you check the line Sunday morning and it's moved whichever side it's favoring, that sometimes that's the sharp money or the professional money going on one side or the other, because they typically wait. But
yeah, from what I understand, that's kind of true. And then, yeah, money changes the line for sure. So,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's the over-under?
Over-under for this is 42 points.
So that's 21-21. So they're kind of thinking a higher scoring game than I think a lot of us are thinking. Mark, what's your thoughts on that over-under?
Well, since I haven't come up with my own final score yet in terms of point total, I mean, they're typically very close. Although actually, this last game against Pittsburgh, it was 69, and I think the over/under for that game was 42 or 40.
It was like 43 or something. Yeah.
Right there.
For some reason, actually, my hunch is that it will go over, because our offense will be scoring a decent amount of. I would say over for this one.
All right, Will, what's your thought on the over/under?
I think the final score will be in that ballpark. It could go either way, but I don't think it's going to be much more or much less.
And Matt, do you care?
I'm sorry, did you say something? I was miles away.
Okay. Okay. We want to remind you that the line in this game, the 12th Man Fan Jam show. The Famine Show. The 12th Man Fan Jam show does not endorse betting on anything at any time. These numbers have been presented for entertainment purposes only. Please don't take this or anything we ever say on this show seriously ever in your entire lives. Please. All right. Let's get ready for the fourth quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
Yes, coming up next, it's predictions, prognostications, and game balls for the upcoming game between your Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings. Right after this quick station identification, you are listening and watching the 12th Man Fan Jam show, because what else you going to do before a Seahawk game? We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
The Minnesota Vikings, and you know that we're a joke. The Minnesota Vikings, and you know we're gonna choke. The Minnesota Vikings, and you know that we're a joke. Yeah, we ain't never gonna be no good.
And now, it's time for the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to lead us through the final quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, welcome back to the fourth quarter of episode 320 of your 12th Man Fan Jam show, the special Vikings edition. It is time for our predictions, our prognostications, and our game balls. This year we are keeping score on how well we do our predictions. Scoring is like this. Game balls get 3 points, prognostications 3 points. Also, if nobody gets an actual prognostication, the closest person gets a point. Predictions on the button, both teams score 5 points. One team score 3 points, and if nobody gets it, the closest is a point. There's your scores as they stand. Our guest predictor this week is none other than my lovely daughter, Mosette. She had this to say about the game. She thinks the Seahawks are going to win 21-7. She's given her game ball to Bruce Irvin after she looked at me and said, he's still on the team, right? I'm like, yes, he's still on the team. Okay, I like that. I said, okay.
Nice.
I like to say that Irvin guy if he's still on the team, Dad. Is he still on the team? Yes. Okay, I'll go with him. All right. She also, her prognostication is 2 sacks for the Seahawks, and she says, of course, go Hawks. So, that being said, we will now go around the posse and see what they have for game balls, prognostications, and predictions. Mark.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready? Do you have a prediction, a prognostication, and a game ball?
I am. Let's see here. I'm going to call this 24-20 Seahawks.
All right.
And I think Tyler Lockett is going to roll. And
You think Tyler Lockett's going to what, sir?
He's going to go bowling, I think he said.
That's what I thought.
He's going to ride Captain Ride twice in the end zone.
Oh, Tyler Lockett, 2 TDs.
2 receiving TDs. I'll specify. I don't know. Anything that he scores is awesome. But yes, I'm going to say 2 receiving. And he will be my game ball recipient.
All right. Well done. Hi, Matt.
Hi.
You got some predictions, prognostications,
Yeah, I have.
game balls for us?
little beginning, middle, and end.
Little game ball, little prognostication.
Don't, because you make me laugh. I can't say it now. Right.
Somebody snorted.
I'm me. Sorry.
That was Fat Boy. Right. Vikings 17.
All right. Good night, everybody. Show's over. Get out.
Everyone's a little richer for the experience. It's going to be Vikings 17, and the good guy is 27.
You tricky little son of a gun. All right.
I think Rawls will outrun Peterson, and I think Rawls will get 1 TD and Peterson will get none. And I'm going to give my game ball to Rawls.
Now, I want to clarify. Is your prognostication Rawls 1 TD then? Or Rawls beating... Huh?
He's going to outrun. He's going to outrun Peterson, so he'll get more
That's
yardage.
what it is. Yeah. So, Rawls over Peterson is your... Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to be sure here.
Yeah.
Clarification.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Will! Hi, Will.
Hi, Moses.
What you got for us?
Seahawks 23, Vikings 13. My prognostication is Rawls is going to run for 125 yards or more.
Oh my!
And that. Thank you, George Takei.
Oh my!
And I'm also going to give Rawls my game ball.
I see a pattern.
That means I might actually get some points this time.
There you go.
No, that means you're going to drag me down.
Dustin, what you got?
A prognostication and a game ball and a score.
You want to pass that on to us?
My share?
Drum roll.
All right, so I'm going to go. For the score, I'm going to say I'm going to call blowout this time just for fun. I'm going to say the Seahawks are going to win 31-7.
Oh, shits and giggles now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. 2 weeks in a row, I'm going with Russell Wilson as the guy.
Okay.
And my prognostication is that we will see Tavares Jackson in this game because of the blowout.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you for the clarification.
Wow.
Yes.
That's right. He could be the special guest star in Minnesota this week.
He could be. He could be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. I guess it's my turn. Now, the Seahawks come off a thrilling and heart-palpitating victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers at home last week, and their reward is traveling to the land of 1,000 lakes and super malls to face the 8-3 Vikings. Vikings started season 2-2, but are 6-1 since. Have a firm grip on the NFC North Division, while the Packers fall backwards harder than me trying to roller skate up a hill in Seattle. The Vikings are led on offense by Adrian Old School Peterson, a man that really knows how to punish opposing defenses.
And
he currently leads the NFL in rushing as well as carrying his team on his back, because without 28, this offense might be worse than 28th. Defensively, the Vikings are 9th, but they're 20th against the run, which should excite the 12s. Look for the Seahawks to run for over 150 yards as a team this Sunday. That's my prognostication. Look for my game ball recipient, Thomas Rawls. Yes, there's a pattern here. Contribute most of that ground game total. Look for the Seahawk defense to force Teddy Bridgewater to make plays he isn't ready to make. And of course, look for it to be cold, chilly, and frigid. You betcha. When it's all said and done Sunday, look for the Vikings to be questioning their seriousness at a title run, and the Seahawks to firmly reestablish themselves into the NFC playoff picture by winning this game by a score of Seattle Seahawks 24, Minnesota Vikings 17.
So let it be written. So let it be done.
looks like it's time to bring another wonderful and amazing 12th Man Fan Jam show to a sad close. We are so glad you decided to waste some time with us before this game. As usual, it was a show that raised the bar here at the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. We certainly hope you laughed a little, and maybe, just maybe, you learned a little something along the way. What did we learn in this episode? Well, we learned that Dustin likes to blame his cat. We learned that Matt likes to bring up American Dad trivia. We learned that Mark wants a raspberry beret.
Yes.
And we learned that the Browns are a revolving door at quarterback. So, on behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, from merry old England, our news hound, Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, and Dustin as the Beaver, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity saying, enjoy the game Sunday, and as always, go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Yeah.